I used to have a student job at Walmart, which was open 24 hours a day. It's a good job, but sometimes you have to work late. For example, at 11 p.m. in the dead of night. The late shifts are annoying, but they pay the bills, so I live with it. One evening, I was doing my thing, stacking shelves, etc., when I noticed that this guy was acting very strange. He stalks the halls like a shadow or something. At first, I thought he was just another customer looking for a late-night snack or something, but the longer I looked, the more I realized something was wrong. This guy, he was looking at me. Every move I made, he followed me and imitated my footsteps, like he was trying to do it covertly, but it was obvious he was stalking me. Terrible, I tell you. And he doesn't need help or anything. At first, I ignored it, focused on my work, and hoped he would go away. But the longer it went on, the more I couldn't get over this strange feeling. I mean, who does that? I caught him out of the corner of my eye, took in his weird expressions, and then tried to ignore it and move on. I started counting, and there were only 15 minutes left until the end of my shift. I pray that this whole strange conundrum ends soon. My shift was over, and I thought, okay, time to grab some chips and soda and leave. But guess who's waiting at the chip aisle? Yes, the strange guy. I worked up the courage to walk over and ask, "Hey, can I help you with anything?" I was trying to do my job, but this guy just looked at me with intense, soulless eyes. I asked him again, "What do you want?" But he didn't give me a straight answer. He just kept watching. A shiver ran down my spine and I walked away. I walked over to my colleague and explained to him that a strange guy was following me everywhere I went. The two of us went to see the guy. My colleague asked what his intentions were, but the man did not respond. He just turned around and walked away. I was relieved. There was no creep. The colleague helped me, and I was ready to escape. I went to the register, collected my things, and stepped into the cool night breeze of the parking lot. Now, my place isn't that far, but it doesn't feel like it's around the corner either. I started walking, trying to get out of the whole ordeal, but then I get that nagging feeling again. It's like I'm being watched. I looked behind me, and there he was, taking a leisurely stroll, like a midnight stroll. I panicked and picked up my pace, thinking that there's no way this guy is going to follow me home. So I'm walking quickly, trying to shake off the man, but every time I looked behind me, he was still there. A distant silhouette, but definitely behind me. My heart was pounding wildly, and I tried to calm myself down. I could not lead him to my home, so I led him through the streets and alleys in vain. I tried to distance myself a bit, and he tried to keep up. I was breathing hard and my legs were burning, but I finally got rid of him. I stopped to catch my breath and looked around, but there was no sign of him. I'm relieved, but I'm not taking any chances. I dragged myself back to my apartment, locked the door, and collapsed on the couch. Days went by and I couldn't find this guy at Walmart. It's like he just disappeared out of the blue. You bet I've been more careful since then. I never worked the night shift again, and I made sure I was always on my toes in case he decided to show up again. The whole ordeal gave me the creeps and still gives me goosebumps looking back on it. Who was that person? What was he trying to do to me? It makes you question your safety, your surroundings, and the people you meet in the middle of the night. A few years ago, I worked at Walmart in charge of the grocery department. Now, let me tell you about this strange incident that gives me the chills when I think about it. I threw myself into the mundane task of restocking the shelves, which was just a routine of stacking boxes and boxes. The fluorescent lights hummed with a sterile glow that all Walmarts seemed to have. Everything seemed normal until suddenly there was a screeching sound on the intercom, and a soft and scary voice came out. "Go to the back of the store." At first, I blamed it on a stupid joke from the rest of our staff. You know, to break up the monotony with a bit of twisted humor. So I shrugged it off and kept piling on. But then it happened again, and this voice slipped through the speakers almost under a whisper. "Listen to me." Suddenly, the air became cool and a chill ran down my spine. I looked around, expecting to see someone giggling, but saw no one. I didn't have any staff nearby. I hesitated for a moment, then curiosity got the best of me. I carefully went to the back of the store. My heart was doing a strange tap dance in my chest, and I couldn't shake the feeling that something was wrong. There came another crack, and a voice came out, this time more firmly. "Open the storage room to the left." I had to admit that it was very strange. Still, part of me thought it was just a prank, albeit a creepy one, so I reluctantly pushed open the creaking door to the storage room. Darkness enveloped me, and I fumbled for the light switch. Dim bulbs flickered, revealing shelves and tall boxes piled high with supplies. That voice, that ghostly whisper, came again. "Move the box to the other side of the room." My hands were shaking as I was ordered to move the boxes, but all the time I couldn't shake the strange feeling that I wasn't alone. I looked back, half expecting someone lurking in the shadows, but the hallway was still empty. The voice continued, commanding me to execute its commands, each command leading me into the darkness of the back warehouse. I have a painful feeling that something is watching me, stalking me, hiding just beyond the edge of my vision. At one point, I was told to go to the basement, and then I hit the brakes. I threw the boxes like they were on fire and ran back to the well-lit safe area. My breathing was strong and my heart felt like I was running a marathon. I looked around, half expecting the source of that whisper to appear before my eyes, but nothing, just the usual sad scene at Walmart. I knew I had to report this. I stumbled and confided the whole strange story to my managers. They exchanged glances and probably thought I was crazy. They tested the intercom and security system, but everything worked smoothly with no glitches. Others did not seem to hear or experience anything strange. They took it as a weird one-off and moved on. But let me tell you, this event haunted me like a nightmare. I could never shake the feeling that I was being drawn into a peculiar game, a pawn in a terribly strange spectacle. I walked the eerily quiet corridors where every shadow seemed to whisper secrets I couldn't quite grasp. The weeks turned into a month, and I thought I had enough space. I quit my job within 2 weeks' notice and without looking back. I no longer wanted any strange noises to interfere with my sanity. To this day, I can't explain what happened, whether it was a nasty prank or something more sinister. But one thing is for sure, I haven't set foot in a Walmart since. Something about the quiet, dimly lit corridors gave me the creeps. I had this weird encounter at Walmart a few months ago, and I still can't get over it. You know how it goes when you're trying to find the perfect toy for your sister's upcoming birthday. I was walking down the toy aisle, considering my options, when I saw this guy at the other end of the aisle. He looked like a normal man, except for one thing. He was facing the toys, but his eyes were on me. Kind of weird, in my opinion. I shrugged, thinking maybe it was just my imagination. A few seconds later, I looked back and there he was, still looking at me. I felt this uneasy feeling creep up my spine. I looked away again and saw it as a random quirk, but when I got the courage to look back, he didn't move. From then on, I really started to get a weird feeling. My heart was pounding in my chest. Just as I quickly left, I heard a light flurry of footsteps coming towards me. I turned around in a panic, expecting to see this guy approaching, but he was gone. Confused, I hesitated for a moment and then moved on to find a gift. I headed down another hallway, hoping to keep some distance from the strange man. But then he reappeared, looking at me without looking away. It really reminded me of a horror movie. Suddenly, he ran at me, full speed. I was naturally startled and began to run too, as fast as I could. Anything to get away from this creepy man. I rushed to an employee, my heart beating like crazy.
Hey, there's a guy following me. It's scaring me. Can you come check with me?
My voice maybe an octave higher than usual. They agreed to help, and we started to go back to the toy shelves. We headed back to the strange scene together, ready to capture this guy, but nobody was there. Totally confused, I looked at the employee. He could clearly see from my face that someone was really there and that I was not making it up. But yes, the creeper disappeared into thin air. I decided I had enough of this creepy sideshow. I gave up looking for toys. My nerves were frayed. I thought I should look for something else. I headed for the exit, determined to put this whole nightmare behind me. I came outside from Walmart, and there he was, the creepy guy. Only this time, he was laughing with someone else. They were both laughing. I felt my blood turn to ice. I didn't waste a second. I rushed back inside, found the employee I'd spoken to earlier, and called out,
He's in there, and he's not alone.
The employee agreed to go with me. We walked up to the man and spoke to him about his actions. He looked at me and started laughing again. He showed me his cell phone. These two monsters made YouTube videos with the goal of scaring unsuspected people in public places. I was a top candidate for their little show, but I was both angry and relieved. I was outraged my nerves were being tortured and my sanity tested, yet relieved that I wasn't being chased by a raving lunatic. I left Walmart that day with no toys, scared out of my mind. Since it was my sister's birthday in a few days, I was too busy looking for gifts elsewhere. But every now and then, the memory resurfaced. The feeling of being hunted, the piercing stares, my heart pounding as if trying to escape from my chest. A peaceful toy shopping experience doesn't have to involve avoiding creepy YouTube pranksters. If I saw a video of some poor soul being scared at Walmart, I'd probably laugh. But deep down, I'll remember the overwhelming horror, the surreal moment when reality tricked me.